Welcome, Cal State San Marcos families. My name is Christiana Moen, the Director for New Student and Family Programs. I'm excited to have you all here this evening to join us for this financial aid presentation and learn a little bit more about financial aid and scholarships just in time for us to relaunch financial aid season. I'm going to do a quick little housekeeping as I'm getting folks checked in. It's really helpful if you rename yourself. As you'll see on the screen here, you can click on the participants tab. You'll see the more and then rename once you right click more. And if you can add your name, if there's a couple folks here from your family, feel free to add multiple people on there and then your student's name in parentheses afterwards. That'll help us make sure that you get checked in. As we go through our session today, we have a couple of folks here that are helping out and supporting our main presenter. So I'll be in the chat supporting as needed. We also have Tyler Villamont, who is here supporting and currently sharing the screen for us. And so we are here to support you from New Student and Family Programs. Our main presenter for this evening are our financial aid and scholarship friends. And actually the way my screen is set up right now, there we go, there's Alejandra. So we have Miss Julie Lindemeyer and Alejandra Salazar, and they are here to support us. Alejandra is available for anyone that might need Spanish speaking support. So feel free to write to Alejandra in the chat if you need some additional support with Spanish translations. And with that, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to use the chat function. And there's also a tab at the bottom of your screen for participants if you'd like to raise your hand. Everyone is muted at this point with the exception of our presenters. But if you'd like to raise your hand and ask a question aloud, you can do that from the participants tab, and that'll allow the speaker to know that you have a question or you'd like to draw attention to being able to unmute and ask your question. Tonight's session is being recorded and will get posted. It typically takes us a little over a week to get it closed captioned and transitioned over to our website. So keep that in mind. And financial aid and scholarship season launches tomorrow. So you are just in time to get some great information from our fabulous presenters. Again, if you have logistical needs, feel free to write to me in the chat. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and we'll unshare our screen here and turn it over to Julie and her team to share their screen and get started with our fabulous financial aid information. So in the bottom of your screen, you'll also see a reaction tab. You can go ahead and applause and welcome her. And if you haven't introduced yourself in the chat, feel free to share your name and where you're zooming in from. Thanks and welcome, Julie.
Hello, give me just 1 second. I seem to have a technical issue with share screen. I apologize.
No worries.
Ready to go.
No worries. While she's pulling that up, feel free to write in the chat again, introducing yourself and where you're zooming in from. It's always fun to get an idea of where folks are coming from. It's always interesting when we have like our out-of-staters or folks that are coming in from out of town. We've had somebody even from Alaska, which is kind of fun to see. So feel free to add that in the chat for us and share along. Fantastic.
Okay, can everyone see the main screen?
Yeah, so we can see it in your presenter view.
Excellent. Display, just a second.
No problem.
I'm sorry.
No worries. Oh, we have some folks that are local in Oceanside, Rancho Bernardo, San Diego area. Very nice. It sounds like there was an earthquake, fairly local. Tyler here is from Michigan, so it's always fun to have some California disasters like earthquakes and whatnot because it's unique to him. It's always fun. Anywho, all right, Julie, it looks like you're all set.
All right, thank you. Sorry for the delay. I'm Julie Lindenmeyer from the financial aid team, and my colleague Alejandra is here to help me out if you have any questions that come up. So as has already been said, October 1st is the first day that the FAFSA is open, and that's tomorrow. We always like to encourage our students to complete the application as soon as it's available. The reason why is we start bundling up and sending our award notifications in early December. So we like to make sure that we have your application. If we have any questions about it, they're resolved, and your financial aid is ready to go right on time. The scholarship application is also open. Private scholarships, we'll talk a little bit more about them later, but they have their own opening and closing deadlines. So just when you look at our website, if you look at more scholarship opportunities, you can see a large list of scholarships that our students have been successful applying for. So part of the financial aid process can mean that you need to submit additional documentation to our office. This is not an audit as in a tax audit. This is just we're required by congressional law and state law, depending on your application, to validate the information that's on your application. So we ask that if you are selected for verification, if you could kindly submit those documents as soon as possible. We'll evaluate them and turn them around very quickly for you so you can know what your financial aid award is for the next cycle without delay. The most common items that we're asked to validate is your tax information, your household size, and citizenship status for the FAFSA filers. Cal State San Marcos, we send almost all of our communications via email, but we do call. And I always like to make note that if we're calling you, we're calling to check in and make sure that you know there's outstanding documents. We never ask for social security numbers or your date of birth. The only private information we may ask you for is student ID to authenticate that we are actually speaking to the student. So if you security number, that is a red flag warning. It's not us. We know what your social security number is. I'm receiving a message that my internet connection is unstable. Are you guys able to hear everything? Okay, great. Thank you. It's a red flag warning if anybody's asking you to provide a social security number or asking you for payment in relation to anything to do with financial aid. That's never something we do. The first initial in the FAFSA stands for free. It's the free application for federal student aid. So all of our work is without cost to you. By completing the FAFSA or the CATA application, if you're a DREAMer or AB 540 student, you are considered for grants. If you complete the separate Cal State San Marcos scholarship application, you're considered for scholarships. And you're automatically assessed for any federal or state loans that are available. There's no obligation to take the federal loans. They're always in an offered status. And depending on your budget and the things going on with your family, you can decide whether that is the right thing for you to do. So as San Marcos. And I love the process we have set up here because one application gets you considered for over 200 opportunities here at Cal State San Marcos. So you complete one application and it's a smart application. So by selecting your interests or how you build your profile in the application, it will match you to we talk a lot about scholarship applications because it's an excellent way to supplement your federal or state financial aid package. So if you think about all of the work you're doing to ensure that your student has financial aid and all the support that they need to start school, if the student spends an hour or two writing an essay about themselves and their interests and why a donor should be investing in them, they spent maybe 1 or 2 hours on the essay, had a friend or a family member proof it. So all told, maybe 3 hours. Some of the awards are several $1,000s. So it really does pay off to do the scholarship application and apply for as many scholarship opportunities as you can. Now, again, the warning on the scholarships is if you're applying for scholarship opportunities outside of Cal State San Marcos, they don't need your social security number for the application. And you shouldn't be paying to participate in any scholarship opportunities. On our website, we put several search engines that we have seen our students be successful using, and they have many opportunities. Except for the last one. It's the San Diego Foundation, and these are local investors, and they really do make quite a few very lucrative awards. A couple of years ago, I do like to emphasize the San Diego Foundation, because a couple of years ago, their foundation board called our office and asked if our students were aware that this opportunity was available, because their application pool was down. So again, one essay, a couple of hours, and make sure you apply to as many opportunities as you have available for you. Okay, the federal student loans. I know there's a lot of press in the media about loans being a really bad thing, and debt is through the roof. But I do want to make a point that if you're considering putting your college expenses on a credit card, look at the interest rates on your credit card versus what the interest rates are on the student loans. Now, there's two types of student loans. The subsidized student loan is the one that we always recommend that our students consider before anything else. And the reason why is this loan is not accruing interest while your student is at least half time. So if they borrow $5,000 today, 4 years later when they're graduating, they only owe $5,000, and they're given a 6-month grace period before any payments are due. So you really want to analyze the interest rates on the two options and make the decision that's best for your family. Okay, we talk a lot about budgeting. When your financial aid comes through, we use the language disbursement. And essentially, a disbursement means that the financial aid has been bundled up and passed to student financial services, and it's been used to pay your tuition and fees. If there's anything remaining, a refund is processed and it's sent to your student, either via direct deposit, which is the way we always recommend because you have it in 3 days, or a paper check, which is probably 14 days with the mail. So once you have the refund, this is for books, living expenses, parking passes, anything that comes up associated with university costs. Now, if your refund is a result of student loans, be mindful about how that money is being spent, because eventually you'll have to pay it back later. Okay, so we always like to make a point of there are other expenses that are not automatically deducted from your financial aid money. Books, parking pass, living expenses if you're living off campus. So just be mindful when you prepare your personal budget and you're figuring out how much you need for tuition and fees, that there are other things that will come up, and you want to make sure you have that handled and you know how much you can count on in a refund and how far your financial aid refund is going to go. We like to go over typical refunds. So student A, their tuition and fees in this example are $3,856. They received a state grant that was $2,871 and a Pell Grant. Their refund ended up being $1,975. Again, direct deposit is always emphasized because it comes to you so much faster. It's efficient. It's in your bank account within 3 days. Student B opted in for the student loans, and that did create a larger refund for the student. However, again, the reminder that later on the loans will need to be paid back, so being mindful about what the money is used for. When you're looking at budgeting and building your personal budget, we create what's called a cost of attendance, and it's there to give you an estimate of what things could cost. Your costs, depending on your choices, could be higher or lower than what our estimates are. So part of the So every semester, we're required to check the student's progress. So students are required to maintain a minimum of a 2.0 GPA and they have to have completed at least 2/3 of the classes that they attempt. A student can be a financial aid recipient. So if it takes 120 credits to complete your degree, financial aid would be cut off at 180 units. And we always like to make sure that students understand that regardless of the reason that they stop attending, if there's a personal emergency or some type of disruption where they couldn't finish their classes, their financial aid has to be calculated to determine how much financial aid the student earned while they were attending. So if you think of financial aid and university experience, the classes as the student's job, while they're receiving financial aid, they earn their financial aid as they attend classes and successfully progress through the semester. Now, if they have to stop due to an emergency or the classes aren't working out or some other life events happen, we are required to determine how much of the financial aid the student earned when they were attending. So there is a possibility that if a student changes their schedule, they could have to return some of the money that they received. So we always say that if something is going on with your student and they're having challenges or feeling like they're struggling in their classes, contact financial aid. We're very good at connecting students with resources on campus. We do a lot of referrals to the Cougar Care Network. We reach out to faculty in different departments to make sure that we've connected the student with a coach or a tutor or any support that they need. We're really good at finding and making those connections so the student can continue forward. Okay. So when you're figuring out the costs, you need to figure out the cost, apply for financial aid early, right on October 1st. And then if we contact you, we're contacting you via email or via phone to ask you to submit documents or help us resolve any conflicting information. We typically have our second week. So that's why we're asking as soon as the application's open tomorrow, if you could get the apps done, and we'll make sure to email you and wrap everything up for you right before winter break. Always a concern is credit card debt, and knowing that if you're considering charging something, look at the student loan options first. Make sure you understand the interest rates and you're making smart choices so you have the financial freedom you need when your student's finishing. And then building a budget is key to success, knowing how much the tuition and fees are, understanding whether the student's going to be living on or off campus, additional expenses associated with books. If you're looking at keeping costs low, maybe you're renting a book or buying a used book rather than getting a brand new book delivered. So just food for thought. And that concludes the formal presentation, and we wanted to make sure we had plenty of time for questions.
Julie, there were a couple of times that you cut out.
Oh,
So I tried to take a note of them to maybe reinforce or reshare. The last one I didn't quite catch 100%, but you said something was going to happen around the second week.
yeah, thank you. Of December?
Maybe that's kind of where it got cut out a little bit.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I was just reiterating that we do our best to get our financial aid award notifications sent the first or second week of December.
Awesome. That is helpful. And then there was a time at the beginning, but it wasn't enough information that I could quite catch it. So if anyone has a question or caught something that that got cut out or you needed to recheck on, please feel free to write in the chat your question, or you can also do the participants tab. At the bottom of your screen. For the majority, it's at the bottom, and be able to raise your hand and you can unmute yourself to ask your question a little bit further. Julie, one other thing that might be helpful that that I know we get questions a lot in our office about is maybe navigating your website and kind of sharing a little bit more about what financial aid support looks like in the environment of COVID and your
Sure,
virtual resources if you want to do a
sure.
screen share of your website.
Just a second.
Yeah, no worries. And Karen, it looks like you had a question. Go ahead.
Yes, so I am trying to figure out once my husband is on the other computer.
Oh, no worries.
Um, how do I explain it? We didn't get any financial aid, so we went through the process of getting the loan, and
Okay.
we accepted the subsidized loan. But
Yeah.
how can I go about and see?
In these unprecedented times that we have. So we would ask that you email our office with your student ID.
Okay.
It's FinAid, FINAID.
Okay.
And then include in there, thank you, Alejandra. Include your student ID and the fact that you have had a financial change since you completed the FAFSA. And we're going to email you some information that we'll ask you to fill out. Your 2019 tax data, and then what it looks like today.
Okay. Yeah, because it was very strange. Like, I don't think we made that much, but there,
Yeah.
We were able to get actually a grant, the California grant for her.
Great.
So that helped.
The Cal grant is an excellent grant.
So, and I was going to ask about that. I'm not sure if you know or can help me. Does she need to reapply it, obviously, for that grant again? And
yeah, her only application for the Cal grant next year is just the FAFSA. So completing that tomorrow and your dishes are done for the whole year. It's great.
Okay. So it was considered, that is considered cost for them, the grant that she got. Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering also, if that's what was considered that. Okay.
If you wanted to privately drop her student ID for me, I would love to look at her record tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Julie.
Absolutely. Okay. So on our website, we put some videos from the Department of Education about the overview of the financial aid process and how to fill out the FAFSA. These are standard videos that we keep on our main website. Alejandra, do you mind going to scholarships? Awesome. So the CSUSM scholarship application right on the left, that is the scholarship process that I was talking about for Cal State San Marcos, where you complete one application, one profile, and you're considered for all of the opportunities here at San Marcos. Under more scholarships, these are the search engines that I discussed, FastWeb, and I find them really handy. And nothing makes financial aid people's hearts sing more than seeing a student have all of their tuition and fees paid for with grants and scholarships. It's the best thing.
All right, thank you. And we posted in the chat the link to this website that you just shared with those videos.
Thank you.
As well as your general financial aid email. And so I think that that's hopefully helpful in getting some of the general questions that we at least get in our area quite frequently from families. But if anyone else has any questions that you would like to ask, please feel free to. I'm going to go ahead and